please try to practice to understand that me loving you includes making mistakes without wanting to hurt you. You will find at least one of your parents in your partner, and your partner will at least find one of their parents in you. Somehow we want the other one to be able to read our minds. We have been together for so long. Why don't you know that? People already know or have a feeling about what the solution is. Most people want you to be there. Important for a healthy relationship is to understand for each person a map. So there's no right and wrong in communication. There are maps. We are talking on two different maps and try to find a way where we overlap. So this is where we overlap. There is no such thing as safety. Safety is an illusion. You can give someone the feeling that they're safe with you.
Why does it have to go back to childhood? Because that's where it started.
Because it's a subconscious programming from day one, 24 hours a day. Start telling people what you feel. Don't take it for granted. I'm proud of you. I feel safe with you. I trust you and I love you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Bold Moves, the podcast where we empower men to be bold, be brave, and be you. I'm your host, Ayu, and today is a special day. I have a guest speaker coming in today, not into the studio, but she is in Germany. So I'm in Bali, she's in Germany. She is a relationship coach focusing on communication. Very important, very interesting. So we will be discussing and talking about a relationship, what is a healthy relationship can look like, and some misconceptions about healthy relationship. And also we will be talking about communication. And she has some practical tips on how we can do to improve our communication between couples or in relationship in general. So without further ado, let's hear it. Here she is, Linna Schatton. Hi, Linna. How are you?
Hi, Ayu. It's nice to meet you. Thank you so much. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, and thank you so much for being here with me, sitting here with me, even though we're in a different part of the world. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I cannot wait to have an inspiring conversation with you because I know what you've been doing. We talked before, and let's just get started, okay? So from what I know, from what I read from your story in your website as well, by the way, I love your website. You have I love it. It's red. The color is nice. I love it. You have such a rich and inspiring story of your life from having different cultures, studying in England, and now you are a relationship coach, right? Focusing on communication. How great is that? Let's start strong. What inspire you what drive your passion to be a relationship coach?
I always have slight difficulties with answering the question this way because I never intended to become a coach in relationships. It is a topic that has accompanied me ever since I was a child. I've always had difficulties and interest in relationships with parents and their children, with couples and friendships. And most of my friendships failed to continue after I solved their family and generational problems.
Because it was you become like their place to say things about their problems in relationship, and
they were happy with the result. No, they were happy. They were like, oh my God, Lina, can you help me? My father is always screaming, and this father is an alcoholic, and this mother is violent and stuff. And I would always solve, okay, try this. And what about if you would communicate that way? And this started at a very, very, very young age. And when it was solved, I was always a little bit too old for my age, too wise, too earnest. I was too serious, and people couldn't handle it. People could handle me helping them. So this continued throughout. And then
So the journey continues.
I started NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's what Tony
Okay.
Robbins does. He doesn't call it that way. Today, you're not allowed to call it that way because it's manipulative communication. Actually, it's not. It's what you do with it. I always say every kind of communication, every kind of coaching tool is manipulative. The question is, do you use it for greater good or do you use it to cause pain? This is the difference. Money is not
That's
good
the
or bad.
difference.
The
That's
person,
the difference. Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
And this ex-boyfriend didn't like that I got very good at trusting myself, believing in myself, actually truly loving myself. Like he wouldn't call it that way. I didn't call it that way back then. We would have a conflict because I was so hyped and I wanted to tell him what I had learned.
Yeah, of course. When you're in a workshop, you've got new knowledge and experience and you are excited about it. You're feeling like I need to tell someone about it.
Yes. And I had an area which I love. Love is the strongest emotion, which he was not a part of. He couldn't control what happened there. And I fell in love. I was like, oh my God, this woman is so beautiful. This man is so beautiful. You should have seen what he did. Oh my God. She was so triggered. And afterwards, I was so in love with the seminars, with the teachings, with the teachers, with the people.
Passionate about it.
And he was like, what do you mean you're in love with them? I'm like, no, not in a, I want to eat them. Not like that. It's like, so we broke up.
Now that you are a relationship coach, can you please share your understanding of a healthy relationship can look like? Because like we talked before, healthy relationship can be tricky. But then in your perspective, I just need to know. Maybe you can share your understanding for the listeners, for the audience, so they can understand what is actually a healthy relationship look like from your perspective.
I think between healthy and toxic, there are a lot of colors. I don't think what is true for me will be true for you, Ayu, for example. But I believe that there are certain principles or values
Standards,
that serve
value.
everyone, whoever you are, and principles or not principles that don't serve you as a person. First of all, most of us don't know what a healthy relationship is. Most of us think it is normal what we've seen with our parents. Or if it's very, very awful from a very young age and you have a very good friend and their parents are like, oh my God, look at their parents. You will be like, this is what it should be like. Look at my parents, because if it's that awful, so you will.
Then you don't want what you have in your parents, so you try to change it. Either okay, that makes sense.
Exactly.
True.
So this is where you start at a very young age. I'm almost 100% sure that you, as me, didn't have classes in school like emotional regulations, emotions, parents, and family constellations, that blah 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 blah. Nothing. So
Nothing at all.
Right? So none of us know what is true and healthy. We will automatically draw into our life all the good and all the bad without knowing, by mirroring what our parents did. So I always thought my ex-boyfriends, they are so different from what I know from home. I was always looking for the exact opposite. One of the hardest things is to realize what happened at home, put it into words, reflect on it, and tell yourself, what did you feel safe and good with? And what did you not feel safe and good with? And have this for you. Okay, this is what I need. So a healthy relationship for me is listening. Most people say, yeah, of course. Yeah, I know listening is so important.
No, listening and hearing are two different things. Listening to understand is different to just, oh, I hear you. So one of the things that from what you said, healthy relationship is actually listening. You want to be the one that is listened Because look, listen to me when you have an argument or something. But sometimes we need to know that we also need to listen to someone else, not just hearing, because hearing, yeah, I can hear you. Listening is listening to understand, to solve the problems or whatever is that the other person is trying to communicate it to you. So one of the healthy relationship for you is actually listening, to
Yes.
be able to listen.
You just said one thing I want to pick up on. Yes, I think listening, and most people say, Lina, I'm listening. They are listening, but interpreting at the same time. Try to listen without judging, interpreting, wanting to understand. Try just to listen the words they say, because you will put the definition into the meaning of the words that you know, not what they say. So try and be open about it. Try and listen, not for the sake of solving the problem, because that's what you said. I hear you, and I'm the one who wants to solve problems too. But most people
It doesn't have
don't
to. Yeah.
want the problem to be solved. Most people already know or have a feeling about what the solution is. Most people want you to be there. They don't want, oh, do this, oh, do that. What about, no. I'm like, okay, I'm here. And in English, we have this wonderful saying. You don't have that in German. So I've been using it for years. And in German, it sounds weird, and in Hungarian as well.
What's that?
But I just say it. I never say, I understand you, except if you are so much at the start of the journey that I will say, I understand you, so that you feel understood. This is about your feeling to feel safe. But do you know why I will never understand anyone ever, whatever I do?
Tell me.
Because the language we use is solely our experience, our emotions, our interpretations. So
our understanding of, okay,
whatever you say, I have a hint what it could be. But whatever you say, whatever word, it will always be my understanding and automatic interpretation of your word. So I will ask you.
Automatically your understanding. It doesn't matter what. Okay.
So we are.
Wow, that makes sense.
For example, in this podcast interview,
Mm-hmm.
you have a map, a language map. I have a language map. We have agreed to meet here to talk, and you are asking your questions from your map. I'm understanding your questions on my map, and I answer from my map, and you try to understand it and repeat it from yours. But actually, the whole time we are talking on two different maps and try to find a way where we overlap. So this is where we overlap. So you will never hear me. The further you are in your development, you will never hear me, I understand you, because I don't. And it's not true. You will always hear me say, I hear you.
Okay.
So my siblings, my clients, my husband, everyone has started to say, I hear you. Whereas in Germany, it's one of the most traditional things to say, I understand you, because this is the ultimate sign of showing empathy.
It's linguistic. Yeah, it's some. Yeah, that's right.
So
in my language too, we say I understand you, but yeah, now I get you.
So I
because
never.
It's your assumption, your map. We're talking from. It's really good analogy that you're using the two maps and how we communicate today. I have my own map. You have your own map. We're just trying to. Well, try to overlap. Like if there is some, I don't know, similarities or understanding. But yes, I hear you. Yeah.
So
that's very interesting.
So I think what's very important for a healthy relationship is to understand there are there is for each person a map. So there's no right and wrong in communication. There are maps. There is listening, and actually listening to the point where you might not agree with the other one. And I often say, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just here with you. I'm listening. Tell me what is on your mind. No solution, no problem thinking, but just being there. So Of course, sometimes it's about solutions. So you will have problems or situations, challenges where it's about finding a solution. This is very proper. Most of the arguments, I don't know if you have experienced it, in my experience with my clients, most of the arguments are not about finding a solution, even if it's a problem. Most of them are like, can you be there for me the way I need it? And this is also what the other one wants. Can you be
Is
there
it
for me?
disagreement then?
It is understanding needs. It's about understanding that my need, even if it has the same word, the same title, might be a very different one to yours. And your need is not righter or wronger than mine. A need is a need. This is what you need.
A need
Can I
is
give
a
it to
need.
you or not? Be clear about it. I can give this to you,
Don't judge
but I
it.
cannot. Hmm?
Is that what you're trying to say? Need is a need. You don't have to overanalyze it, right or wrong. It's just a
There's
need.
no right and wrong. There's no right or wrong. There is, can I understand it? Because I have the same need from my parents, from my trauma, from my past? Or is it very different? And most conflicts arise because the families you are from bring along different experiences and they are so different from each other that you're like, what?
They're
This is
very
possible? No way.
different.
This is possible. So with me and my husband, this is so funny. With me and my husband, I've never had it. He is the best part of my dad, and the parts that are missing from
Huh?
my dad. No, he once you heal your path, you will not draw in that what you are fleeing from, but that what you actually want, what you deserve. Everyone deserves the best. I hate this deserving, but this is what people think about.
Normally, as a human, our brain is very logical, I might say. So when you have a problem or something, you just want to jump into a problem solution mode, while actually it doesn't have to be. Am I right?
I hear you. I totally hear you. Funnily, most of my clients say, I'm so rational. And then they tell me the story and what they struggle with. And I'm like, nah, you're so emotional. Because funny, we are very emotional. We will act upon emotions, but we will justify rationally. But the driver is emotion. It's not, it's
It's still
never,
emotion,
the
but we
explanation is rational. So for example, if I love my husband, I'm like, oh my God, I want to surprise him because I haven't seen him for 2 minutes. And oh, no one will understand that 2 minutes is an eternity. I'm taking a ridiculous example, but most relationship things are this ridiculous because what is not ridiculous for you is ridiculous for everyone else and vice versa. So that's why I don't
and
like
vice
judging.
versa, yeah.
Leave the judging outside the door, close the door, leave it outside. So, and then I say, okay, how can I explain everyone else that it's useful and it does totally make sense that I visit my husband just because I missed him for 2 minutes? But it's an emotional thing. Oh, I want to visit him. I love him.
It's an emotional. It's definitely, yeah. It's an emotional thing.
And
You're
that's the
right.
same in work, at work, with teens. You not only you will find your mother or you will find at least one of your parents in your partner, and your partner will at least find one of their parents in you. So in all the good things, I'm very similar to my husband's mother. And also in a couple of things where I'm like, yeah, oh,
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah,
to be,
that makes sense.
right?
Now I think of several things,
Yes.
and that actually makes sense. That's true.
And this
And if
is
most people that I know,
this is what you will do at work as well. If you're employed, your bosses, your colleagues will have very strong parts of your siblings and your parents you either like or you absolutely dislike. And you're like, why did I draw this as well? Because that's what you know, not because it's right, because you
that's
know it.
what we know.
I think, like, in very short, a healthy relationship is listening to each other, letting the other
Listening,
one speak out, like speak proper, everything.
transparency.
I think clarity is important. You will only have clarity with people who have values.
Also, you mentioned safe before.
Yes, there is no such thing as safety. Safety is an illusion, but let's pretend you can give someone the feeling that they're safe with you, but you will not always be able to deliver that promise, because imagine I'm totally up for safety, but it's a very different safety. True safety is only within you. But if you have this safety in you, you can be there for others. And if other people have their safety in themselves, they can be there for you. That is the, for me, the true meaning, because if I have a bad day, my husband has a bad day, for example, and he comes home delivering different problems where he doesn't want solutions. He wants to feel safe with me. But I'm having a bad day too. And for that moment, I'm not realizing this is what he wants. So I will give him solutions. Like,
Yeah.
no, wait, stop. Can I finish my sentence without you interrupting me? And I'm like, I just wanted to show him that he's safe with me. Oh, wait a minute, but I'm giving him solutions and he doesn't want solutions.
How do we do that? Because sometimes what you expect from others is very different. Would you just say then what you needed in the first go when you have a conversation? Is it a good strategy? Oh, I'm just asking.
It's a very, very good strategy. Most of the time, you will have to practice this strategy, because most of the times, something is off when you're in the middle. So it takes practice to realize, I'm angry. I'm upset. Why exactly am I angry? What makes me angry? What upsets me? Oh, it's this ridiculous one little sentence. Don't give me solutions, just listen. Because it reminds me of mama, papa, blah, 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 blah. It
Yeah,
will
the triggers.
always be someone from your family, from your childhood. So if you can do this reflection process, and it's a little more difficult because this is about
It is.
and you will have to practice it. So when my husband or I have a bad day, the difficult part is when both have a bad day. If it's only one, you can handle it quite good, like a ship that has
Like a balance. Yeah.
But if it's both, it's hard, because both of us, and this is also what is part of a healthy relationship, somehow we want the other one to be able to read our minds. We have been together for so long. Why don't you know that? I always tell my clients, if they can read your mind, beautiful gift.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
they don't, it's okay. It's okay. If you expect to know someone, even after 20, 30 years, expecting them not to change over time with experiences do change us. Maybe in core, we stay the way we are, but experiences change us. And my husband will be someone else in 5 years, and I will be someone else in 5 years. Maybe the core, the values, that will stay the same. Values is also an important thing for healthy relationships. People who don't have values will toss you around, and it's okay and it's fine. But you love me, I love you. Oh, by the way, for a healthy relationship, love alone is not enough. Love is one part of the recipe. If it's only love, you will see something like Romeo and Juliet. Nothing more.
That makes sense. I understand that, and I have to, no, not have to. I think I agree with that as well, because it's again, it's relationship. It's not just about love. There's so much in it. Like, right, like for example, a lot of things that you said today actually make sense in a relationship, because when you trying to explain something, I try to, oh, I'm listening, but at the same time, oh yeah, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to me. The misunderstanding, the whole things. Like you said, love is not enough. Yes, I agree. I agree, because relationship is so much more than just I love you, you love me. There is so much, and we live in a world that there's so many factors. There's like trauma in it, your childhood experience, the financial issues that we're having, this family getting together, and you bringing your own backpack, and that's why a relationship. We're talking in couples, yeah. It's
Yeah,
so
you're
much
asking me
more
only about couple. I
about
mean,
love, yeah, yeah,
but
and
actually,
I agree with that.
most of what I just said, actually everything, eh, mm, except for the sex part, I almost forgot to mention that good sex is an
The
essential
physical.
part of a healthy relationship. What is good and how often is good? This is up to you and your husband to talk about. Talk it through, talk it out. It has to be something that you both are okay with. Sex is a very important part, except for the sex. All the rest you can translate onto almost every other relationship. I'm always asked, Lena, what's the difference between friendship and a relationship for you? And I'm like, for me, friendship is exactly the same as a relationship without sex. So I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of people I get along and they
I do.
like me and I
I'm the
like
same.
everything. But if you ask me how many friends I have, you will be disappointed how low the number. And you said another point I would like to finish up with for
Yeah, yeah, sure.
question, misunderstanding. Most
Mhm.
people take misunderstandings personal and will think something negative about you, or will say that you will think something negative about them. I think one of the key points of a healthy relationship is also to give each other freedom to be wrong, to communicate on practice and making
Beautiful.
mistakes,
Yeah.
and that there are misunderstandings that might happen where you don't expect them, and just be patient and merciful when someone misunderstands you, and ask for mercy and patience, because sometimes these things happen no matter how perfect and
Oh,
healed
perfect. Yeah.
and transcendent and blah, blah, blah you are. There will happen misunderstandings, and please be as kind as possible, that this can happen without the other one being mean, bad. They want to hurt you. People always think, they want to hurt me. No, stop
No.
suggesting that people want to hurt you. And when someone is suggesting to you this, tell them, stop suggesting this. I love you. Please try to practice to understand that me loving you includes making mistakes without wanting to hurt you, and vice versa. I think this is a difficult part. Someone who loves you doesn't want to hurt you. Someone who hurts you and says, "No, this was you. You should have seen it coming. This is your fault." This is not love. This is gaslighting. This is narcissism. This is one of the biggest
The
reasons
biggest.
why most of the people are alone. And I think the biggest pandemic now is loneliness. And most people do so much every day to actually be lonely without wanting to. They don't want to. They just somehow, because they haven't worked on their family stuff and the past and the wounds, this just automatically happen. Most people are alone because they are the way they are. And this is something people don't want to hear. It, it's
It's
a
true.
mirror.
Lonely. Yeah. And that's very interesting as well. So what you're doing in your current work right now. So you work with couples or you work with the families, or can you tell me more about that?
Okay, women came to me with problems about their profession. Lena, I want to change. And this is a 50-year-old doctor. And
Oh.
I want to change my profession. I want to build a practice. I want this, I want that. And and problems with their children, and problems with their husbands, their ex-husbands, ex-partners. So the topics people came to me had always some kind of human relational essence or
Mm-hmm.
connection. It was always
Always
about
the
connection.
connections.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. And so I was like, okay, let's move down that path. And I was like, okay, What is it that I'm really, really good at? What is it that people have paid me thousands of euros? And what is it that people actually are not good at and would need help with? And it was relationships. First,
Yeah.
only couples. Then mothers would come to me and be like, Lina, can you help my daughter? I was like, yeah, sure. So I started with couples, made it bigger into
So it's
family.
not just for couples now. It's for different types of relationship. What you do
Yeah.
now. I thought it was just like relationship with couples, or
Mhm.
maybe you said like families. In your approach,
Mhm.
what kind of, I don't know how to say this question well, because I have some sort of imagination of coming to your coaching or therapy. I've got problems with for example my husband,
Mhm.
and how would you approach them in terms of communication? Tell me more about that, because I really want to know what your current work and how you deal with clients when someone come to you. What you normally do at the beginning, like.
Mhm. First of all, I want you to understand that my definition of communication is a little bit different than all the reels with the hooks and stuff.
Uh-huh.
For me, everything is communication. If you drink the tea now, not while you were talking to me, but you wanted to tell me. So I have a whole picture. And when I started to talk, and you're like, okay, I know she's not going to ask me now. I have a second to drink the tea. I know, she's thoughtful about when to talk, when not to talk, and when to quietly drink the tea so not to make too loud noises. This is already communication for
It
me.
is.
Most of the communication that happens when you come into a session with me is gonna be me watching you. And if I don't have a video of you like we do now, there is so much in the voice and how you say something. Is it high? Is it low? Is it fast? Is it slow? What is your usual way of speaking when everything is fine? And then I know when something is very good or very bad and you try to hide it, the hiding is in the voice. So I will focus on that. But the very first part is you come into my coaching and you're like, Lina, I have this with my husband. This is I can't sleep at night. What do I do? First of all, I will ask you, what is this with your husband? Like, tell me about it. The next part will be, and some people will be bored with this because, oh, not again. I will ask you about your parents. I will ask you,
Oh, that's the patterns. Yep.
it's always the parents. Someone in the in the restaurant, German pronunciation, asked me, so, but my family is perfect. Everything was always perfect. My parents are amazing. Does it always have to go back to the childhood? And I looked at him. I was like, yeah, it always,
Yes, it does.
yeah,
I believe in that. I do believe in everything that we learned, including how we understand relationships, how we treat one another. Of course, you're saying that your parents are amazing, your family is perfect, but again, when you meet someone, because someone that is not coming from your family, right, and you build that relationship, how you communicate, how you treat each other, it's coming from what you've seen for
exactly.
years of your parents, or your family culture, how they understand relationship itself, right? So
Exactly.
I do believe in that, the childhood, because everyone keeps saying, why does it have to go back to childhood? Because that's where it started.
Because
That's what I.
yeah, it's a subconscious programming from day one, 24 hours a day. So I told this guy, yes, it does. And then 1 or 2 hours later, turns out he's an alcoholic. He has been to prison and he has difficulties with this and that. But it has nothing to do with his family constellation. I left it to him because it wasn't a coaching. It was a date night with my husband. And
Mhm.
they were curious what we were doing because every month for our monthly anniversary, we write each other a letter. And sometimes we go out for dinner, sometimes we don't. And we read, okay, this is sweet. Okay, so what is
Okay,
it?
what's that for? Is there any purpose for you doing
Everything has a
so?
purpose. Everything you do and you don't do has a purpose. One of the tools I advise when people ask me for advice is to have a mix of what you wish is different and appreciate what you have. So every month, if you don't do that, and most people don't do, my husband and I do it. As soon as something pops up, we talk with each other. If it takes 4 hours, if it takes 8 hours, it takes that time. We will take it. Most people don't. They're like, I'm going to discuss this later. We talk about what was good about last month, what I really enjoyed, what I loved, what was hard and difficult, and I would like to have it different the next month. And what I
It's
appreciate
some sort of reflection for you too.
yes, and what I appreciate and love about my husband, the relationship and my husband as a person. Can we write a letter and have it as and I was like, yeah. So we do have now a big album with postcards, with letters, two pages, 3 pages, with drawing on it. I started to always kiss the letter. So we would have my lips with lipstick on it. I have to do it on every single letter. If my lips with the lipstick are missing, I tried it once and it was missing. I was like, where's your kiss from my letter? I was like, oh, wait.
Because it is part of the no, I'm saying it ritual because
It
it's
is a
kind of like
ritual.
monthly ritual
It is.
that you do between the two of you.
Yeah.
And that is very interesting. Well, we've been talking about relationship quite for long, but I just want you to maybe give because sometimes people watch something because they want to get some takeaways, like practical tips or something, in maybe 2 or 3 in maintaining it specifically in couples. So can you just wrap up what you say, for example, 3, 4 things, what we can do or practical tips, at least trying to have less conflict in couples?
If you want to practice to lead a healthy relationship, this is one thing I would give. You don't have to write letters. You just can have a coffee, tea together and answer three questions about the last. So do it on the first, second, or third of the month, and talk about the month before, what you didn't like and what you would like to change or have different, what you liked about the month, like in the relationship, I mean.
Your favorite part of that month, yeah.
Not only, I don't like the only very peak and very low. You can do small things as well. I love that you make a cup of tea for me every afternoon when you see I'm tired from all the work. This is, I would go for the everyday things. I mean, if something big happens, like, oh my God, my favorite part was getting married. This is one thing. Like, if you get married, you can totally use it. But I wouldn't only look for the very highs and the very lows. I think this is one problem people do. I would look for the everyday that you would usually take for granted. But if they would not happen anymore, you'd be like, wait a minute, why is it not happening anymore? Oh, maybe start appreciating it, which is the third thing, what you love about the person and the relationship and being in the relationship with them. So what you didn't like about the month before, what you liked, everyday things or not. Usually things are everyday things before they get really deep.
Yeah,
Or
sure.
what you like about them, and being in relationship explicitly with them. So this is the thing I would say. What what would help the world so much would be, instead of I know what you should do, I hear you. So I hear you is one of the things I always tell everyone when they ask me, Lina, give me an advice. I'm like, okay, you don't understand them. I mean, you want to, but you don't. I hear you.
But you hear it.
Yeah. I hear you is the second thing. And then one thing that is totally underrated, and especially men love this from their partner. If it's true, I'm proud of you. I feel safe with you. Start telling people what you feel. Don't take it for granted. I'm proud of you. I feel safe with you. I trust you. And I love you. And now you as a woman, which of the 4 did you like? Did you like all of them? Did they make something? If I would say Ayu, I'm really proud of you. I haven't known you for a long time, but what you have done with your Instagram and with the podcast, and you like speaking, so you follow that passion. This is so amazing. I'm so proud of you. And by the way, this is true now. I'm telling this. I'm not making up. This is what I feel. I feel
What?
I feel safe with you. I think this is such a beautiful podcast, and
No,
I'm feeling so
I
safe.
love it.
We have been talking for so much longer than we intended because I feel
Yeah, that's right. I just realized.
because I feel safe with you. And by the way, one of the reasons why I feel safe with you is because in this business connection that we know that we have started with each other, I do trust you. I trust you to be a kind person. I trust you to be
That
thoughtful.
is very important.
Yes.
When you are building a relation, well, I call this is a relationship. What I have with you right
Mhm.
now, even though we're
It is.
not in face to face, but we're building it.
How
And
did it make you
what you
feel?
said,
How did what I just said? How did it make you feel? Because I
no,
want
it makes me feel really good about. For example, the specific word that I like from what you say is actually when you say I'm proud of you. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good that it's just not me thinking about that. Someone else, which is Lena, is thinking the same thing, which is for me, it's a big deal because someone said that to me that they're proud of me. I'm actually proud of me, but that would be biased if I said that to myself. That would be weird. But when someone else, like you or my husband, saying things like that, I truly appreciate it with all of my heart because that is something that I've been thinking. And you can, well, you hear me and you try to understand what I've been trying to understand about myself. And the word, like you said, proud of you, it makes me feel, look, actually, it makes me feel really good about myself. Like
exactly.
confident.
And this is you from a woman. This is me from a woman. Most of my female clients say this as well. Now imagine for a man, it's even more meaningful to hear, I'm proud of you. So if we could just be more proud of each other, feeling safe with each other and saying this, trusting each other. I mean, of course I trust them. Of course I love them. I wouldn't be with them. Of course I'm proud of them. Yes, of course you
Yeah,
are.
but when
Have
you
you,
say
what,
the person,
that's it.
when you're saying it to the person, it's something. Well, as a human, you have that kind of feeling, like the feel when you said that I trust you. Well, of course, I trust my husband, but I think what you said makes sense. When they hear it, when my partner hears it, of course, it make them feel good about themselves, and also it will reflect to the relationship as. Now that makes sense.
And you can use it in any kind of, you can use it in friendships with your parents. Like, for example, my father doesn't like being proud of someone because my pride has nothing to do with his performance. So with him, I don't say, I'm proud of you. I say, I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited that this worked out. So if there are people who don't like certain usage of words, ask them what they like instead and use it, but mean it. Because most of us, we do mean it, we feel it, we just don't say it. You can do it with colleagues, with bosses. I mean, most of my colleagues before I was self-employed and even later coaching academy with this ex, now most of us, they love me. They really, really love me. And it's not because I'm so amazing and so special. It's because I, I, I always want to try to learn the language of the other person and honestly, honestly give them what I really mean and feel on a regular basis.
It's and that was my favorite part of you. A need is a need. You don't have to observe it or overanalyze it to right or wrong.
And
And that's why.
and you don't have to justify it. Let me just add this. Don't justify your need. If it's your need, it's there.
But sometimes our brain is just going to justification, kind of like. It's been so lovely talking about relationship, talking about how we understand, from I understand you to I hear you.
Mhm.
So, look, before we're wrapping up, right? One last question that I want to ask. What kind of like, if you could talk, this is a bit reflection. If you could have a chance to speak with your 20-year-old you, what would you say to her? Is there anything you wanted to say if you have a chance to have a 5-minute conversation with her?
This is
Do
an
you
intervention. This is an NLP intervention I regularly use. Not just the question. It's a little bit bigger, but the essence of it is this. So I've been talking to my older selves and my younger selves, and I've been doing so much. And I don't have a question, but usually I go there and I let myself be cuddled and be loved. Just like, you're safe, you're here, you're fine. And I'm sometimes I'm an impatient person with myself. So usually the three things I've been coming across for years with my older self is trust yourself,
trust yourself?
believe in yourself, and take the time it needs. That's it. So,
Trust yourself, believe in yourself, and take your time.
mhm.
That is beautiful. I would start saying that to my younger self as well. Look, thank you so much for your insight about relationship, about communication, how actually I understand it from you because I had the relationship coach. For me was like, okay, telling me what to do about communication, but it is actually not like that. And thank you for clarifying all of that things. And I think this conversation will give new knowledge to people. I think so, because even I got that new insights of misunderstanding, like you said before, and I hear you part and try to understand and what a healthy relationship and safe is an illusion actually. And then the last thing is when you're saying it to the person, how they make you feel. That was my favorite part as well. The word, I trust you, I feel safe with you, or I'm proud of you. Thank you so much, Linna, for your time. You have a lovely, well, it's still morning in there. It's almost 6 o'clock in here. So thank you so much for your time. I'll see you another time.
Yes, I'll see you. Take care.